What if I told you that your brain, the same brain that keeps you alive every day, is the single biggest reason you keep losing money in the markets? Not your strategy, not your broker, not even the market maker's hunting stops. It's you, and worse. Your brain doesn't just make mistakes, it lies to you. Every trade you take, it whispers the same seductive story. You're right. This setup is perfect. Everyone else sees it too. You can't lose. And then, red candle, stop hit, account bleeding. Here's the shocking truth. 19% of traders are destroyed by a single hidden bias hardwired into human evolution. It's the same bias that kept your ancestors alive on the savannah, and now it's wiping out accounts faster than any bad news headline. Want proof? Think of your last trade. Did you look for reasons why you might be wrong, or only for evidence that confirmed you were right? Be honest. If you only saw what you wanted to see, congratulations. You just fell for the exact bias I'm talking about. In the next few minutes, I'll show you the ancient survival mechanism behind this bias, why it's turning you into the market's easiest prey, and 3 simple brain hacks to crush it before your next trade. Because if you can't fix this, nothing else matters. Your brain is your worst trading enemy. Ready to expose its lies? Let's go. Imagine this. A trader sits in front of his screen, sweating. His chart screams, "Buy now." Everyone on Twitter agrees. He pulls the trigger, convinced he's seeing the same thing the pros see. Minutes later, stop hit, account down another 2%. He slams his desk, mutters, "The market is rigged," and hunts for the next setup. But here's the uncomfortable truth. The market isn't rigged. His brain is. Welcome to Disciplined Trades, a channel where we don't just teach you patterns, we rewire the machine between your ears. Because let's be real, most traders don't fail because of bad strategies. They fail because their brain is running 150,000-year-old software designed for survival, not speculation. This video isn't another trading tip video. This is psychological surgery for traders who are tired of gambling and ready to think like professionals. By the end, you'll understand the bias that 19% of traders never overcome, the neuroscience behind why your brain lies to you every time you enter a trade, 3 mental rewiring techniques that the top 1% use to stay objective under pressure, and stick around to the end because insight number 3, the one I'm saving for last, single-handedly doubled my win rate in 19 days. Quick question before we go deeper. How often do you catch yourself researching reasons why your trade is right after you've already entered? Be honest. Comment the word guilty below if that's you. No shame. Awareness is the first step to rewiring. So if you're ready to stop being the market's prey and start thinking like a predator, let's dig into the lies your brain is feeding you every single day. Why your ancestors saved themselves and you blow accounts. Picture this. 150,000 years ago, your ancestor hears rustling in the grass. They don't stop to analyze. They don't weigh probabilities. They assume danger. Why? Because assuming danger, even if wrong, increase survival chances. Better to run from the wind than miss the lion. This instinct kept them alive, but it's murdering your trading account. Your brain is still running that same ancient software. Only now, the lion isn't hiding in the grass. It's hiding in the charts. Every red candle triggers the same fight or flight response your ancestor felt when they saw movement in the bushes. But instead of running, you do the worst possible thing. You trade emotionally. You panic sell bottoms, you FOMO buy tops, and you convince yourself every small sign of confirmation means you're right. This instinctive need to stay alive morphs into confirmation bias. The survival brain doesn't want truth. It wants safety. And in the markets, safety feels like agreement. You see one bullish engulfing candle? Your brain instantly searches for every scrap of evidence that proves you're correct. Support levels, RSI divergence, Twitter gurus saying the same thing, while completely ignoring the warning signs that scream, "You're wrong." Here's the science. Scientists at Princeton have shown that the human brain processes confirming information faster than disconfirming information. It literally filters out bad news to reduce stress. On the savannah, that helped you keep moving with the herd. In the markets, it makes you the perfect prey for smarter money. Want proof? Pull up your last losing trade. Go back to the moment before you entered. Did you honestly search for reasons not to take the trade? Or did you just glance past the red flags because they felt uncomfortable? That discomfort, that little twist in your gut, is your ancient brain trying to protect you from danger. But in trading, discomfort is data. Ignoring it is how accounts die. So how do you beat 150,000 years of wiring? You don't try to feel different. You create a system that forces you to think differently. Action step. Before entering any trade, write down 3 reasons why this trade could fail. Not 1, not 2, but 3. If you can't list them, you're already biased. Post those 3 reasons on your screen while the trade is active. Your job isn't to fight the bias. It's to keep it on a leash. Think of it like this. Your ancestor survived by running from every rustle. You'll survive by questioning every candle. The market rewards skepticism, not instinct. The winner's high, why your biggest win sets up your biggest loss. Let me tell you a story you've probably lived yourself. You take a perfect trade, clean setup, flawless execution, and boom, you hit a huge winner. Your P&L flashes green, your heart rate spikes, and for the first time in weeks, you feel like you're finally getting this trading thing right. But 3 trades later, you're staring at a bloody account, wondering how you could go from genius to idiot so fast. Welcome to the winner's high, a psychological trap that has ruined more traders than bad strategies ever will. Here's what's happening in your brain. A big win floods your system with dopamine, the same chemical that surges when gamblers hit jackpots or addicts use drugs. This dopamine rush doesn't just make you happy. It literally impairs your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for rational decision-making. Northwestern University studies show that after a significant financial gain, traders' risk assessment ability can drop by up to 40% for the next 72 hours. Your brain starts whispering lies. You've cracked the code. You can size up. You're different now. But that's not confidence. It's intoxication. You start chasing trades you'd normally avoid, increasing position sizes, and entering without your usual checklist. You're not trading the market anymore. You're trading your dopamine addiction. Paul Tudor Jones, one of the greatest traders alive, has a strict rule for this exact reason. After any huge win, he trades smaller for the next 3 days. He calls it doping off because he knows that right after a win, his brain isn't trustworthy. He doesn't celebrate by getting aggressive. He celebrates by becoming ultra conservative. Want to see if you've been a victim? Look at your trade history after your last big winner. Did your average position size creep higher? Did you take trades outside your playbook? If yes, you weren't trading, you were high. Action step. Print this rule and tape it to your monitor. After a big win, my next 3 trades are half size. No exceptions. If you can enforce this for 30 days, you'll protect yourself from blowing weeks of profits in a single emotional spiral. The best traders don't trust their brain after a win, they handicap it. Because they know that in trading, overconfidence isn't just dangerous, it's fatal. The 90-second revenge window. How your brain turns losses into account killers. Every trader knows the feeling. You get stopped out, maybe by a single pip or a tiny wick, and instantly, your chest tightens. Your mind starts screaming, "Get it back, now." Before you even realize what's happening, you're in another trade. Twice the size, half the logic, and 30 minutes later, your account is down double what it was before. This isn't bad discipline, it's biology. Neuroscience shows that after a sudden financial loss, your brain triggers a stress response nearly identical to physical danger. Your amygdala fires off a fight-or-flight reaction, dumping cortisol and adrenaline into your system. This stress surge literally shuts down your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for logic and risk assessment, for up to 90 seconds. Victor Niederhofer, once one of Wall Street's most famous traders, famously blew up his fund after doubling down on a losing position during this exact window. His emotional brain couldn't wait for his logical brain to come back online. He later admitted in an interview, "I knew better, but I couldn't stop myself." Here's the brutal truth. The first 90 seconds after a loss are the most dangerous moment in a trader's day. Your brain is not trying to make you money, it's trying to kill the threat. And in trading, that threat isn't a predator. It's your own ego screaming to erase the pain of being wrong. Action step: implement the 10-minute rule immediately. After every stop out, you are banned from taking a new trade for at least 10 minutes. Set a physical timer. Step away from the desk. Do push-ups. Journal the loss. Breathe anything that stalls you until your prefrontal cortex regains control. Want proof this works? Top prop firms literally program software that locks traders out for several minutes after a big loss. They don't do this to annoy traders. They do it to protect them from themselves. So the next time you feel that surge of anger after a loss, remember, it's not you wanting to trade. It's your caveman brain fighting an imaginary lion. And lions don't live in candlesticks. The phantom profit illusion: why unrealized gains make you trade like a rookie. Picture this. You're up $500 on a trade. You're grinning, already imagining what you'll do with that money. But then the market pulls back, erasing half those gains. Suddenly, you're angry. Not just disappointed, but furious. Even though you're still in profit, it feels like you just lost $250. So, what do? You take impulsive trades trying to get it back. And just like that, your small green day turns into a deep red one. Welcome to the phantom profit illusion, a psychological trap that makes you treat unrealized gains as if they're already yours. But here's the truth. You never owned that money. It was never in your account. Your brain just tricked you into believing it was. This happens because your brain's reward system doesn't differentiate between realized and unrealized gains. Neuroeconomics research from Columbia University shows that as soon as your P&L flashes green, your brain treats it as a secured reward. So when the market takes it back, your brain doesn't see it as normal fluctuation. It interprets it as a loss. And as we learned in loss aversion studies, losses feel twice as painful as equivalent gains feel good. Think about that for a second. You could be in profit, and your brain will still push you into revenge trading, chasing money that was never yours in the first place. It's insanity disguised as logic. One famous example: long-term capital management, the legendary hedge fund, blew billions in 1988 because they refused to accept giving back paper profits. Their model said the trades would revert, so they doubled down to recover what they felt they had lost. The market didn't care. Action step: start tracking only closed trades in your daily P&L review. Stop staring at floating profits. Instead, write this mantra on a sticky note above your screen. If I haven't closed it, I don't own it. Also, ask yourself before adjusting any trade: am I following my system, or am I trying to protect phantom profits? If the honest answer is the latter, step away. Because professional traders don't chase what never belonged to them. They trade setups, not feelings. The market will always tempt you with green numbers to manipulate your emotions. But the traders who survive are the ones who remember, until you hit that close button, it's not your money. It's just pixels on a screen. The split personality of a trader, taming the gambler inside you. If you've ever felt like two different people when trading, you're not imagining things. There's the version of you who calmly waits for high probability setups, follows your plan, and takes stops without emotion. And then there's the other version, the impulsive gambler who FOMO buys at tops, revenge trades after losses, and doubles position sizes on a gut feeling. Welcome to the split personality of a trader. Psychologists call this phenomenon parts conflict. Your brain isn't one unified voice. It's a committee of competing drives. One part craves discipline and long-term growth. Another craves instant gratification and dopamine spikes. Neuroscience studies from Stanford show that when emotional urges fire, they temporarily hijack the brain's executive control system. That's why you can watch yourself breaking your own rules in real time, screaming internally, "Don't do this," but still clicking buy. Traders who succeed aren't magically free of this internal war. They've simply learned how to activate the right personality on command. Navy SEALs use a technique called combat priming. Rituals designed to switch their mental state from civilian mode to mission mode. You can do the same for trading. Action step: create a ritual that signals to your brain, the disciplined trader is in control now. It could be as simple as wearing a specific hat, sitting in a particular posture, or taking 5 deep, focused breaths before placing any trade. One pro trader I coached literally named his disciplined persona the sniper and would whisper, "The sniper takes over now," before every session. Also, write your trader persona's name at the top of every journal entry. Treat that persona as a separate professional who makes all trading decisions. The more you reinforce this identity, the harder it becomes for the gambler to hijack you. Because here's the truth, you'll always have both personalities inside you. The goal isn't to kill the gambler. It's to keep him locked in a cage while the sniper takes the shot. The 3-question bias killer, your mental firewall against bad trades. Even with all the psychology hacks we've covered, biases are sneaky. They slip past your awareness when you're tired, overconfident, or desperate to make back losses. That's why you need a mental firewall. A final checkpoint that forces your brain to slow down before pulling the trigger. Enter the 3-question bias killer. These 3 simple questions can stop a bad trade in its tracks, not because they give you new information, but because they force you to confront the uncomfortable truths your brain tries to ignore. Here they are. 1. What would prove me wrong? If you can't clearly define what invalidates your trade, you're not trading a plan. You're trading hope. Pros know exactly where they're wrong before they enter. 2. Would I still take this trade if I couldn't look at Twitter, Discord, or news for 24 hours? This question cuts through herd mentality. If the only reason you're confident is because everyone else agrees, you're in an echo chamber, not a trade. 3. If my future self looked back at this trade in 6 months, would they thank me or curse me? This activates what psychologists call temporal distancing, pulling you out of emotional short-term thinking and forcing long-term accountability. Why does this work? Neuroscience studies show that when you ask reflective, future-oriented questions, it activates the prefrontal cortex, pulling you out of fight or flight mode. In other words, these 3 questions drag you back into rational, objective thinking, right? When your emotional brain wants to hijack you. Action step: write these 3 questions on a sticky note and tape it directly to your monitor. Before every single trade, answer them out loud if you have to. If you can't confidently answer all 3, you do not take the trade. No exceptions. The best traders don't just have great setups, they have great filters. These 3 questions are your filter. Because the difference between an amateur and a pro isn't the winning trades they take, it's the stupid trades they refuse to take. Climax. Take a deep breath and think back to every blown account, every painful losing streak, every night you stared at your screen wondering if you're cut out for this game. What do all those moments have in common? It wasn't the market, it wasn't your broker, it wasn't even your strategy. It was your brain. The same brain that convinced you that you were right, that ignored red flags, that whispered, just one more trade. Here's the brutal truth. The market isn't your enemy. Your own mind is. And the scariest part, your brain is designed to betray you. Every bias we've talked about, confirmation, herd mentality, revenge trading, phantom profits, they're not bugs in the system. They're features. Features that kept you alive for thousands of years, but now feed you to the market like fresh meat. Let that sink in. Every time you panic sell, every time you FOMO into a pump, every time you convince yourself that a bad trade will come back, you are acting exactly how evolution designed you to act. You are playing the role the market expects you to play. Liquidity for smarter money. But here's the shift that changes everything. You don't have to play that role anymore. You can rewire this ancient software. You can stop being prey. Think of the greatest traders alive like Paul Tudor Jones, Linda Roschke, Mark Douglas's students. Do you think they're free from fear, ego, and bias? No. They feel everything you feel, but they've built systems, rituals, rules, and questions that keep those instincts locked in a cage. And you can too. Right now, you have 2 choices. Keep trading with the same brain that has cost you thousands, or decide today to become the kind of trader who questions every instinct, who treats discomfort as data, who never lets the gambler personality touch the keyboard. Because the truth is, the market doesn't care about your dreams. It doesn't care about your hustle. It only rewards one thing: discipline over instinct. So ask yourself this. Really sit with it. Will your future self thank you for how you trade tomorrow, or will they curse you for ignoring what you know now? This is the turning point. Most people will click away and go back to gambling. A few will take this seriously. And that decision, that's the difference between another blown account and finally becoming the trader you've always wanted to be. The brain that's been lying to you doesn't have to win, but only if you decide right now to stop listening to it.